Hello, fellow Bassages and Fargan Iceholes. My name is Alex Tyler. Welcome to Ace Combat Reviews. Today we'll be looking at the Typhoon, and one of my favorite planes from Ace Combat 4 that I used to play with a lot before I even discovered even some of my favorite planes. This is before I even knew what some vehicles were, and I even know that these things existed. When I first got into Ace Combat, this plane carried me through two of the games, which was Ace Combat 4, Ace Combat 5. And now we're looking at Ace Combat 7 and how it's a hold up against everything else. To be honest, this thing's amazing, with one good exception. It can't really do the same maneuvers as some of the top tier planes, so technically it's in a mid tier plane, but it has the power and maneuverability without doing stall maneuvers of a high mobility plane. Picture this basically as a lower version of a YF-23. It can hold its own against a fight anytime, anywhere. In real life standards, it could defeat a F-22 head on against a... Yeah, if you know that story at all, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, this is an amazing vehicle for what it can do. It can do any land missions because it has 8 AGMs. It has HCAMs, which are HCAAs, which are really freaking good for holding up the back of an enemy and applying pressure, which I've discovered is the main role of this plane. Applying pressure. Making sure your enemy does not feel the light of day. Make sure that they get nervous. Make sure that they make a mistake. You have to apply pressure, and when they make that mistake, you jump on it as soon as you can. It is very different from anything else I've played. Yes, it requires a good pilot. Yes, it requires practice, and it's definitely a different type of area that I'm not really used to, which is these applying pressure, where it feels like you have to stay on an enemy, but at the same time, it follows the rules of F-22 that I talked about. If you can't get the kill within 8 to 10 seconds, move on to the next target. If you can't find that sweet spot that you need to get, that one little instant that you need to fire your missiles at and destroy the enemy, then move on to the next target. This is a very different role for what I'm used to seeing. And in real life, this is the top tier, the most powerful plane in the EU. It's meant to be the equivalent to the Su-57 and the F-22, and it holds up to its own, don't worry. I have nothing but praise for this plane, because, one, it looks cool, two, it's technically one of the better planes between the Raphael and the other one that I'm going to be talking about later. The Raphael is really nice, don't get me wrong, but this thing can hold its own against it, no problem. They're almost basically the same plane, but with some differences, of course, I'll get into later on. But mainly, most of all, this thing can adapt to any role that you need it to be. It can snipe, it can dogfight, it can literally get into any situations like a hairball and just stay there. It has the maneuverability and the speed just to get tangled up in a giant web of enemies. And then as soon as you get something on your butt that you can't get off of, you just jet off to 2,000 plus speed and get out of there. It can get that speed within a couple seconds at least, and I've realized that with the right parts, of course, it can just be a devastating weapon. Because of this reason, you need to realize what you're playing with. As you see here in my campaign, which is a totally different story than multiplayer, I'm able to stay behind a group of enemies like this part coming up that I'm really excited to show you. That here, look at this. I'm about to show you why this thing is amazing for what it does. I'm coming around, I'm seeing these big group of enemies, and I'm about to take them all out within a couple seconds. All down, okay, good, nice. That was 2 down, flip around, do my another pass. Next up, I'm going to go about again, switch up to my HCAAs, and just keep launching missiles. Because the HCAA is able to do this, you're able to take out so many different enemies at the same time and just wipe out entire crowds or focus down on one target. And this has a shortcoming. You're basically, this answers the shortcomings of the vehicle where You wish it had like a 4 a.m., for example, or a QAM. You don't need that. You really don't need anything because this thing can answer its own problems. It doesn't need a weapon to hold its own. It doesn't need a ELM. It doesn't need a QAM. It has the right weapons and it fits its own playstyle. If it had anything else on it, it would probably ruin the plane, where you would have to rely on like a QAM just to get kills with this. You can't do. I think the QAM would be nice on this plane, but it would not work well with how it's supposed to be played, which is a very agile dogfighter that can snipe, which is a lot of roles to talk about in once. But I'll let this clip play off, and I'll get into the multiplayer side of things. So enjoy.
Missile launch from the Arsenal bird. Shit, airburst type. Helios arriving in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Helios arrived.
Don't fly so close together. My tail's been shot. I'm bailing out.
I said we were going to take down the space elevator, but it's not like we can just go out there and chop it down. At the top of the windbreak, 6 location markers have been set in place. They monitor distortions in the space elevator. Those are the locations we need to target. If the sensors go bad, the elevator's observation system will think the elevator has fallen. Until its safety can be confirmed, all microwaves will be stopped.
Oh, I get it. What a party.
I was going to do it myself. you dumbass.
Helios launched from the Arsenal bird. Five seconds.
Now, in multiplayer, what I want to talk about with this is that it's a totally different animal in this sort of sense. It plays the role of a great supporter, of the, I guess you could say, the role that's supposed to be the damage dealer, or the thing that's supposed to be the harasser, which is to stay behind the enemy and keep him off your allies. You're supposed to use this as keeping that XFA or that ADF plane or that F-22 that's harassing all your enemies with AAMs or QAAMs. You're supposed to use this to chase away the bad guys so your teammates can get kills. That's why I realized it's better for Team Deathmatch than Battle Royale. Battle Royale, sure, it can hold its own if you're good enough that you're not getting swarmed by enemies and you're not getting shot down every couple seconds, which is probably the case with this, because yes, it can slow down its speed to about I'd say 120 and still be agile, and basically at that point you're flying just not a brick, but a piece of paper that can fly in the wind, be agile, and do what it needs to do, and hold its own. Like here, for example, the ADF here is a really good example for me holding my own, but also just showing that it's supposed to be keeping this enemy distracted. But then I realized the F-22 is a bigger threat, so I had to go after him just to help my allies now. Because of this reason, you have to understand which targets are being the bigger threat to the enemy and to your allies. Because of that, you have to pick your targets carefully. Like the F-22 over here, I know he's going to be a problem. I know I have to keep him off my friendlies and make sure that he doesn't become an issue for anyone else. For that reason, I have to protect my allies from him. So I'll keep him busy. I'm not concerned about hitting him. That's where the HCAA comes into play, especially the XFA's ability to lock on to my friends and have that ability to help my missiles lock on better. For that reason, I'm using it to my advantage, chasing him away, making him busy, making sure that he can't hit my friendlies and stuff like that. And this shows the ability of the Typhoon here. The ability just to hang on to something so valuable and just destroy targets. For that reason, you have to know what you're doing with it. Like here, for example, I can feel that moment where I'm about to hit it, and you're not really supposed to destroy enemies that much as harass them, which I love with this plane. It has a specific role that you have to use with it, and thus it becomes a destroying machine in its ideal playset. You have to use the right parts, you have to use the right things with it, and because of that reason, you know what you have to be doing with it. Anyway, I'll let the rest of the clip play out, and my name is Alex Tyler. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and more to come later on soon. Anyway, bye.
Missile hit. Locked on. Fifteen seconds. Alpha 1, missile! Top ace down. Great shooting. Enemy locked on. Alpha 1. Combat time's up. Congratulations. You guys won.